Hey, Shalom, Shalom, and I want to give all praises due to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahab, Karkadash, and double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone, the bishops and the elders on down, with the bishops and the elders at Connecticut, and the high priest that taught our apostles. Okay, and this Yah Demar from the Great Millstone, Houston, coming back with another lesson. I'm gonna go into dealing with scarcely being saved, right? And let's go into it. This First Peter 4:17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh Shema Shai. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Shema Shai? Right? So yeah, man, judgment is gonna begin with us, knowing that we are Israelites, and if we don't walk like how we supposed to be walking accordingly, we'll be put up out of here. Be destroyed. You know, and to the ones that don't know this truth, doing what they do, they're gonna be totally out of there. They're gonna be finished, right? And that's First Peter 4:18. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, well shall the ungodly and the sinner appear. Yeah. If the righteous scarcely be saved, right? It's gonna be like going through things, you know what I'm saying, and still having to endure, you know, what's to come. And hey, and to the ones that's not doing what they supposed to be doing, they gonna be through. But let's go into it, But you know what? Let me finish it off. First Peter 4:19. Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of Yahweh by Shema Shai commit the keeping of their souls to Him in well doing. So yeah, to them that's enduring, that's suffering, you know, Yahweh Shema shall have mercy on them, you know, as unto a faithful creator. Because, Yahweh Shema Shai, our Father Yahweh, you know, his son Yahweh Shai, our Savior, hey, they faithful and true. And let's go into that word in verse 18 of scarcely being, be saved, you know. Yeah, I think it's Molus,
Strong's G 3433, Malis,
Malus.
Malis.
Yeah, and let's go to the outline of biblical usage. And it says, with difficulty, hardly, not easily, scarcely, very rarely. Yeah, but I guess the point would be difficulty and not easily, right? And I went into the chat GPT on it, and I said, what does scarcely saved in First Peter chapter 4, verse 18 means in the Bible, right? And the Apostle Peter writes, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, which I read, well shall the if the righteous scarcely be saved, well shall the ungodly and the sinner appear in the King James Version. The phrase scarcely be saved can sound confusing, but in biblical context it doesn't mean God's salvation is weak or uncertain. It means salvation for the righteous is not easy, effortless, or without testing. Here's the breakdown. They give like some breakdowns, Meaning of scarcely. In the Greek, in the original Greek, the word is malis, which we went into it, meaning with difficulty, hardly or barely, or not easily. It conveys that salvation comes through trials, suffering, and perseverance, not through a smooth, trouble-free life, right? Because we go through things out here, in America. Yeah, it's not easy, especially for us in the know. It's not It's not that Yahweh struggles to save, rather, the path to salvation requires endurance, holiness, and steadfast faith. Two, why Peter say this? In 1 Peter 4, Peter is talking to believers facing persecution, right? He reminds them that judgment begins at the house of Yahweh Shema Shai, which we read in the 17th verse, meaning Yahweh tests and purifies his people first, right? You know, you go get tested, in the fire, right? Purified in the fire. I'm gonna read that too. In this that second, what's that, Sirach, second chapter, and yeah, meaning Yahweh test and purify his people first. If even Yahweh's people are refined through trials, what hope will the ungodly have when Yahweh's final judgments come? Right. The main point. Salvation for the righteous is certain in Mashiach, but walking that path is demanding. It involves resisting sin, bearing trials and persecution, remaining faithful to the end. Yeah, Matthew 24:13, we'll get it. Peter's warning is sober. Peter's warning is sober. If the godly must endure so much, the fate of the ungodly will be far worse, right? So let's get on Matthew 24:13. Yeah, let's put it in the red because we know this is Yahweh Shai talking, of course, right? Uh, Matthew 24:13. But he that shall, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Right? And the point is, endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Because you got the record check Christians to say they saved already, but what you saved from? You still got to go through. You still going through trouble. You know, whether they believe it or not. So you ain't saved. We still catching hell on this side, so we ain't saved. We'll be saved, Lord willing, when Yahweh Shema, Yahweh Shah cracked them clouds in the chariot. Okay? And let's get second chapter of Ecclesiasticus, known as Sirach, or Sirach known as Ecclesiasticus 2:1. My son, if thou come to serve Yahweh Shema Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright, set thy mind aright, and constantly endure, right? And make not haste in time of trouble. Here they go to the word endure. We got to endure. Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end, right? We want to endure to the end, you know. Don't depart from this. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient, you know, when thou art changed to a lower state. I know it's kind of hard. We got to be patient, though. You go into patient, it means suffering. For gold is tried in the fire, right? We kind of like read some of that in the chat GPT. You know, you got to be tried going through that fire. And acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Read it again. Ecclesiasticus Sirach 2:5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear Yahweh Shema Shai, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Ye that fear Yahweh Shema Shai, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. So yeah, you gotta endure, go through these trials and tribulations, scarcely be saved. You know, you gotta go through scarcely, going into difficulty, It's not easy, trials and tribulations, to be saved out of it. Your reward shall not fail. Well, shall not fail. You just got to you got to endure, keep on enduring this thing, and I got to pray, fast if need be. Talking to myself first and foremost, you know, and yeah, that's it. I hope this has been edifying and to the point. We just endure, brothers. Just keep going and endure and trust in them. Until next time, I want to give our praises due to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wahar, Wakakadash. A double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone, the bishops and the elders in Connecticut, and the high priest that taught our apostles and our bishops and elders. So until next time, Shalom.